Okay, on October 7th, 2023, Hamas, which is part of the Gaza area or the West Bank area commonly called Palestine, killed 1,195 people in the country of Israel. As best I understand, the country of Israel has about maybe 10 million people, okay? And about 2 million of them are, for a lack of a better word, Arabs or Palestine. And I've been to Iraq, I've been to Turkey, I've been to many Islamic countries, I've been to Israel. And there's one thing I'm positive of, is there's an almost feudal anger at Israel. I have no idea why, but I also know that I've been through all of the 42 or 43 countries in Europe, and universally, somehow, they have created, don't think when Hitler was killing all these Jews that it was just him. It was all the 45 million, 60 million German people. It was all the Polish people. It was all the French people. It was the Holland people. They were all helping Hitler to do this. Okay, they can say all they want, but there's a common anger at Israel. Now, is it deserved? I don't think so. I think it's all just really a penis envy problem, okay? That's a Freud thing, right? That's a German phrase. Penis envy is that everybody's envious of the Jewish population, okay? Because they're smart, they're intelligent, and people naturally don't like people that are smart and powerful, okay? But guess what? There's only like 7, 8, 9 million of these people inside the country of Israel. And they're surrounded by about 400 to 500 million Arab people that want them dead. When I was in Iraq, it was so obvious that there was some sort of fanatical, zealot, superstitious sort of anger at Israel. And there's already right inside the United States, we have the same thing. We have these people saying from the river to the sea, and death to Israel. And they're also saying death to United States. But if you really know the Islamic religion, the Muslim people are very systematic, especially with Dubai and Qatar and these countries, to basically try to obey the Sharia law and convert countries to Islam. And I believe they're sending Yemen people to Indiana. I have no idea. There's probably 25 Yemen people. Why in the hell would Yemen people come to this city of Kendallville, Indiana? I have no clue, other than they're the hardcore ones. The hardcore Islamic people wear the little thing, and they're very misogynist. They hate women in a lot of ways. They surely can't love them if they're going to treat their wife this way. But they also they hate any kind of minority. They hate whites. They hate, they're just crazy. Okay, but this kind of fanatical zealot type of thing is in Israel. But what happened over a year ago, today is October 8th, 2024, and I'm in the country of Colombia. But it's quite obvious that there's a fashionable, trendy hatred for Israel, which I don't understand. I've never understood this, and all I can call it is penis envy. They're envious, and people that are envious. I have a lot of people that hate me, and they're always on Reddit talking about me. And really, it's a love-hate. They're so in love with me, they're so envious of me that the only way they can get back at me is to spew hatred. And this is the same thing, but when it becomes a fashion, it's pretty sad. Okay, it's very fashionable for people to jump on the bandwagon. I always laughed, and I'll never forget, I was in the Orland, Indiana coffee barbershop one time, and these guys were all talking about the Mexicans that were moving into Orland. And we had 2 or 3 families at the time, and guess what? There's hundreds of them working less than a mile and a half away. But what happened was the town sheriff said, yeah, those blah 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 Mexicans, they are causing so much problem. He said, yeah, they what they did was their car broke down on the way to the mushroom farm, and what did I have to do? I had to pick them up with my cruiser, my police car, and take them all the way to the work, and then I got their car towed back to the thing. And the other guy says, yeah, my neighbor's garage door broke up, so last Saturday I spent all Saturday working on their frickin' door. And these guys were actually trying to be racist, okay? And they didn't really understand that racist doesn't help out people. But that's as good as they could do. But it becomes fashionable. And right now, the anti-Semitism in the United States is a fanatical, insane sort of thing. To support Hamas going in and just killing 1,195 people or taking 150-some people hostage, or whatever the number is. This is worse than September 11th in the United States. We had like 7,000. If the same percentage of people died as, if you took 330 million people in the United States and 7,000 people got killed in the September 11th Twin Towers attack, and you put that same number, Israel, they lost like 80,000 people compared. That's the same sort of ratio. They lost a radical number of their people in this thing, and it was a surprise attack, much like the Pearl Harbor attack by thing. But notoriously, pussies, weak people, attack in a surprise attack. People that are strong look their enemy in the eye and they talk to them and they say, like right now in Lebanon, Israel is putting pamphlets down and warning them of attacks, and basically saying anybody that wants to be out of this thing, we're trying to kill the leaders. See, it's a misguided, evil leadership, okay? And there are evil countries. Okay, I've been to 114 countries, and I've been doing this for 26 years, and trust me, there are evil cultures. There's a lot of times I complain about Mexico because there's a line in the sand where Mexicans believe that they have the right. They're kind of like Nigerian lights. They believe that they have the right to sort of lie to you and take your money, okay? And this is basically, I think it's because they're progeny of a bunch of conquistadors, which are just land pirates. But when you're the ancestry is your family came from a bunch of pirates, what do you expect? But it was an evil attack. But these are some principles I want you to think about. Might always wins. And this is where people get really angry. Might, the strongest of the survival of the fittest, is 2 different things. It's the one that's willing to do the most evil thing, but it's also the strongest people. So generally, overall, the righteous, the mentally strong, the thing. People are angry at Israel for occupying, occupying Israel after World War II. This was just a bunch of desert land with nothing, a bunch of sheep herders, Bedouins, I don't know what you want to call these people. But it was a zero value land, okay? And it became valuable because Israel converted it. But it has always been fought over. Jerusalem has been fought over. I call it the unholy land because when I went there, what was interesting, and almost every single tourist that I met there, a bunch of young ones, came only to this country to protest. And that is dysfunctional crazy. Okay, I'm going to go to Israel here in, I'll be about December 1st to December 20th, I will be in Israel. And I have a GoFundMe page where I'm going to go, and one of the values of this is that my Patreons or my GoFundMe people can write me and ask me to go do exploratory reporting on what's going. And I'm going to try to explain the situation as best I can. But I'm not going to Everybody's going to think I'm prejudiced, but really what I'm doing is I'm trying to explain reality. Don't get me wrong. Israel does a lot of things in Gaza and the West Bank that infuriates the local Arabs because their might is right attitude. But it's a Jewish country. It's much like Palestine is a Muslim country. You don't go live in a Jewish country if you're a Christian. You don't go live in a Palestine, a Muslim country, if you're a Christian. But Jewish people have a right to their thing. But I'm always laughing. Might has right. There's 400 million Arabs, and they have not got the strength to basically take on 7 million Israelis. Think about it. 400 million people want them dead. Don't get me wrong. This is not a logical. It's an emotional, family-fed, cognitive bias that has been fed on. It's a sort of prejudice that has been. It's an extreme form of prejudice that has been passed on for generation after generation. This hate of Israel. But the leaders can do it. So I'm really proud of Israel. They're going in there and killing off all the leaders. I really think that they should execute that Khomeini guy in Iran. But the 400 million Arabs can't get it done. They can't do hardly anything to Israel. But Israel is the little guy. And the United States has always been a country where we celebrated the little guy against the big guy. It's the one person against the many. The culture of the United States Constitution protects the individual rights over the rights of the group. Okay, the one can actually be more stronger than the group if you can prove yourself right. But right now, the United States is a failed state. Okay, any way you do it, it's a failed nation. The rule of law is gone. It's become a third world nation. And I've been lived in 114 countries, and I tell you, it's safer now to live in other countries than to live in a big city in the United States. Any city in the United States with more than probably 50,000 people has become a war zone because anything goes. Okay, but the Palestine and West Bank, I was in Israel when they were trying to, Israel has traditionally tried to make it into a two-state solution. And everybody thinks that this is logical, but you can see that after 70 years, it never works, right? This has been going on since I was a little kid. It's like Tibet. Tibet is occupied by China, and they made it a better country. Tibet was just a slum under the Dalai Lama, okay? Basically, everybody was dying, and they had to go to the thing, and all they did was worship the Dalai Lama and gave all their money to him. All this stuff is a bunch of hokey crap in a lot of ways. But there is no difference between the Palestine people and the Hamas. They are the same, okay? They recruit from the Palestine people. The Hamas, there's no separation. They kind of act like, it's like when a United States person says that he doesn't agree with his government, therefore he's not responsible. Yes, you're responsible. If you don't want to be responsible, be like me and leave the country. I don't want to live in the United States because I'm ashamed of the country. But the Holocaust, who has more right to be angry than a culture that had a systematic, by the German people, the German, the French, the Italian, the Netherlands, all the countries in Western Europe tried to exterminate the Israeli people. What people have a more right than to have a burr up their butt than the Israelis? You know, they tried to genocide. 55, if you really want to be mad, you should be mad at the Germans. Germans killed, because of the Germans, 55 million people died. 55 million people died in World War II. But the trauma is going to be long-lasting, and as far as I'm concerned, if a country takes over another country, that's the right. Every country on the planet has taken over another country. The United States took over all the countries from the Indians, right? It just goes on and on and on. The Mexicans took it over from the all of Central and South America's Quechua, there's all the tribal things. What the Mexicans are doing to the Chiapas Mayan people is outrageously bad. If you want to hate somebody, hate the Germans. But there's no innocent bystanders in a war. And when somebody tells me in a very, very stupid way that they killed a bunch of innocent people when they're bombing Gaza, I think they don't understand that the nature of war is to scare the people into supporting the end of war. There is always attrition or the idea that you're going to end the war by things. We in World War II, we really killed so many people in Dresden. It was like a nuclear attack. And at the end of the day, you have to kill the spirit of the people if you want to kill the leaders of the people. The leaders, like the Vietnam War was kind of a sad thing because the Chinese with Ho Chi Minh and all these people would have they lost like 5 million people, and we lost 58,000 people. It was mercy to leave that country. They would have never stopped allowing their people to get killed. A lot of leaders are evil. But universally, people hate rich people. But if you want to see what's the benefits to society, just do a list of how many Nobel Prizes there are in Israel. It's like 27 of them. And then go over to the Palestine people or go to, United Arab Emirates or anything, and you'll find that probably of the 400 million people in the Arabs that hate Israel, it's an equal thing. 7 million people have done more to advance society in Israel than ever. But you got to do the pros and cons. But if you don't know why you hate somebody, okay, in a way, I'm always talking about there's obvious principle. Obvious principle is when you look at somebody, you want to say, what did they obviously accomplish? Like Donald Trump, he's worth like 3.5 million. He created the vaccine for COVID-19. He had a 3.5 unemployment rate. We had stable community. We didn't start any wars. And he's created, maybe 500 businesses. What has Kamala Harris done? What has Joe Biden done other than they are career politicians? And they sound nice because they suck up to everybody. But But I'm going to Israel in about December of 2024 to spend as many months as I can. And I would like to have some assistance by people that know people in Israel to help me find places to stay, because I would like to live in an immersion thing where I would live with families. But there's no correct way to do a war. In a knife fight, there is no rules, okay? I was just watching this television show, Suits, and when people want to act like there's some way you're supposed to not kill or have collateral damage when you think, is the signal of a person that really is not very intelligent. When somebody starts complaining about collateral damage in a bombing, they've got to first ask, were they bombing the correct people? Right now, Hamas has notoriously always they've hidden all their people inside Hezbollah and Hamas, Hezbollah in Iran. They hide people inside a mosque. They hide people inside a school. They hide people inside a church. Do you guys ignore this information, or you just are so angry that your eyes are closed? But again, Israel's been there for years. In the Bible, a lot of people that are not really thinking about it, we were told that the Jews killed Jesus. That was over 2,000 years ago, right? The occupation of Israel has only been for 75 years or something like that. They've always been there, and for 3,500 years, the Jews have been in the West Bank, Gaza, Israel area of the world. It's a piece of ground that has very little value, and that's one reason why it was given to Israel in a lot of ways. But the minute you make something valuable, people want it. Okay, I am ashamed of the United States for not just supporting. Kamala Harris and Biden are. The United States is a failed state. Right now, I cannot say. I was talking to a bunch of Colombian people the other day, and it's quite obvious that they have watched enough of the news that they don't even want to. The good people don't want to go to the United States. The people that want to go to the United States are the prostitutes, the ones that'll do absolutely anything for money. They will live outside the law. They will leave their family. Got to understand, to go to the United States just for money is a prostitute. But the Colombian people, I'm very proud of them. They act like they recognize that it's a failed nation. And I've been in 114 countries, in very few countries. When I talk to Western Europeans, they are actually just peanuts of me. They basically are angry that the center of the universe has become, like maybe Los Angeles or New York City. But it is quickly going to shift to China, because China is a player, and they got 2 billion people, and they're much smarter than the United States people. And they are producing quality products, and they're basically going to rule the world by money. Okay, the might is right thing is always true. It's Darwinian. Do you not want Darwinian to be true? Do you not want the strongest, the ones with merit to win? The IQ of a Chinese person is higher. I always like to tease the California people, because they have an IQ of about 85, and the people from Indiana have an IQ of about 101, and China's got an IQ of about 104. So you got 2 billion people with a higher IQ. Don't get me wrong, their government is kind of mixed up, right? But when you have people walking around and you're celebrating the 2% of the population that are the misfits in any culture, they have a right to live. They have a right to survive. But you can't take the 2% and let the 2%, the tail of the dog wag the dog. And that's what's happening in the United States, is everybody's afraid to say anything against, the LGBT population. They're afraid to, they can't even stop and say that a man should not be able to walk into a woman's restroom and show his dick to women. This is ridiculous. Okay, they want to act like transgender is normal. They want to act like having sex, anal sex is normal. Okay, this is not something to encourage. Yes, it happens, but you don't encourage the 2%. They're making it trendy to be evilly, kind of iconoclastic. See, people want to be different. Sometimes the only way they can be unique is by being a troll. A troll is an evil person. A lot of people get mad at me because I won't leave comments on my YouTube channel. Why? Because it's kind of biblical. What the devil does is he creates a system, an area where two people argue. And I won't allow comments to be there, because all people do is argue with each other. Reddit is obviously, all the social networks. I'm very proud that I closed down the social network, because I was destroying the planet by helping people to travel abroad that were losers. A lot of the people on my website were losers. I'm not going to back off on this. The most of the people that I met, I wouldn't invite home and meet my mom under any condition. They were not people I was proud of. They were the misfits. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and become a Patreon if you want to be able to converse with me and actually do learn about some travel things. Every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know what time that is, go time in New York City, and that'll tell you what time 9 p.m. is. And every Sunday we're having a Patreon group of people, and you can support me in different ways. You don't have to be a Patreon. If you want to pay me $60 with Zelle, Z-E-L-L, I think about 80% of the dashboards in the United States can pay it. And if you want to just wire me money, there's a million ways I can receive money. But if you want to communicate with somebody that believes in honesty, I'm your guy. Okay? I have enemies. Why do I have enemies? Because I'm smart, because I'm honest. The honest people in the world are the most hated people on the planet. Why? Because everybody wants you to overlook the fact that they're not perfect. I try to be as perfect example as I can be, and I'm not going to sit around and look the other way at all the maladies inside the United States, the dysfunctional, what do you want to call these things? The people that are deviants inside the United States that are trying to take over the country. You can't let the tail wag the dog of a country. The 2% should have a lot less say than the 95%. There are good people in the United States, but they're all in hiding because they're wimps. If you won't say who you're voting for, if you won't say, you're a wimp. I'm not going to vote because I'm no longer an American. But if I was, I would be voting for Trump because he accomplishes something and he's going to run the country like a business. And Elon Musk, one of the most richest guys, even Mark Zuckerberg is being neutral this year because he knows that he made a radical mistake and that he's destroying the country. Most of these guys will do anything to be popular. Just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you don't have this desire to be famous at the expense of the truth. Elon Musk is a good man. Donald Trump, he's a good man that wants to make the United States better. I wish he could calm down and be a little more presidential. Okay? Kamala Harris is a person that would say anything for money, as is Joe Biden. And the Democratic Party is right now trying to take over the country by bringing in so many illegal aliens that they can actually control all the swing states. It's a conspiracy. I'm ashamed of anybody that loves the United States. I think that you have to have a reality check and sit there and say, I'm angry. Anybody that thinks that the military-industrial complex, see, the whole, right now, the whole war in Ukraine is just to make the rich politicians richer and make the military suppliers richer. It's nothing to do with thing. It's just let's make war so we can spend money, and then the politicians get all this kickback money. The United States is not an honest country. It's proven itself to be able to tell lies. I mean, right now, people openly get on YouTube and TV and they lie without remorse. But at the end of the day, when you want to judge somebody, ask what they've done. The obvious principle is, it's like I've written 5 books. I went to 114 countries. I've lived abroad for 114 years. I purchased over 60 houses. I do a lot of things, okay? But that doesn't mean that I'm doing the things that you want. But when somebody makes the world a better place, they do things. I'll never forget Donald Trump. They had trouble doing this ice rink inside New York City. And he said, let me take it over. And because they couldn't get it done because of the construction people just bleeding all the money. So he took it over and got it done. Donald Trump got the vaccination done. Then 3 days later, after he lost the election, they announced that they have a vaccine. Obviously, these vaccination companies are evil too. The COVID-19 was a way to control the people. It's controlled the whole planet, and it's really sad. It's time for the world to grow up. I really want a worldwide depression where we have 40% unemployment, because it's the only way you're going to get people to focus on reality. The entitled people of the United States, the money people that make money without knowing why they make money, they don't really contribute anything, have a bigger voice than the people that are actually working and making a living. But here, you can live outside the United States right now the differentiation, the chasm between the United States and Western Europe and the rest of the world is they're earning like 250 times more than a country like here in Colombia. They make about $15 to $20 a day. It's about 80% of the planet. Probably 25% of the planet don't even have electricity. The United States is geopolitically an idiot. So, time for people to grow up and stop pretending that it's one of the best countries on the planet. What it is a warmongering, make money for the elite country. And if you really study, anybody that studies Elon Musk can see that he's making electric cars. He's trying to send people to Mars. He's created right now he created a way for to have internet for the people in this hurricane, Helene, right? I don't know what's gone wrong with the United States, but when I talk to people, it's kind of obvious. It's kind of like I remember when I went to Vietnam and I was on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and I had protested against the Vietnam War, and I was ashamed of myself. Why? Because I was young and I had no idea what the Vietnam War was about, that the domino principle was set down by Eisenhower, that China was going to take over all of Southeast Asia. I had no idea what was going on, but I was protesting the war because I was trendy and I was just like everybody else. Stop being trendy, start learning. If nothing else, it's better that the United States in the world is ran by people that are business people that want business to happen. This is why China is no longer a problem. China is all about the business. And you don't attack when you're in business and you're selling your products to a foolish country like the United States, you don't attack them. You don't destroy your clientele. It's like all the OPEC nations. They are not going to attack the United States as long as we're sucking up all their oil products. But I do want you to realize that we're going to jump to 34% efficiency on solar panels, and the whole oil industry is going to be put out of business here in the next 10, 15 years. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Become a Patreon and get on my GoFundMe and help me have enough money, or connect me up with some Israeli people where I can live in their house in December of 2024 and January, February, I hope, because the longer I can stay there, the better it is, the more I'll understand the real. Understanding a culture is like peeling an onion. You take it off in layers, okay? And it's not easy to understand geopolitically what's going on in the culture. And don't get me wrong, there is no such thing as a perfect culture. There is no such thing as a perfect person. Well, life goes on, and I'm here and you're not. Why not? Why am I here and you're not? Why not? Because I'm brave enough to accept reality on reality's term, and I strive to be alive. If you want to live, you got to strive to be alive. I'm Andy Lee Graham.